Hello everybody, and welcome to another game for Rory Story Cubes. We're going to try to be creative once again 3 times in a row with a whole bunch of different dice, as we've done many times before. I'd say it's a little bit more difficult to be creative for me today because I just got a lot of annoying news about my upcoming move and how it might not go quite as I had planned. We'll have to see how that goes along because I was supposed to move this weekend, but now there's a lot of administration that's coming up like at the very last minute, and hopefully they'll be able to figure it out before this upcoming Friday when I should be getting the key to the new place. And if I don't get the key, then they'll have a problem. I don't know. Let's hope for the best. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. I'm going to put some dice over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here. Bonus. And one more die right here. Right, let's roll these guys. And see what we could make out of the resulting images. Let's start with these 4. And a die, literally. And a robot, because why not? Some guy who appears to be planning something or rubbing his hands in any case. Let's put him over here. And this one I've not seen before. What is this? This looks like an alien shooting a missile or something. Or a missile being shot at an alien. That's definitely coming down. That's interesting. I've not seen that one before. Interesting. Good one. Let's see. Next 5. DNA right at the top edge. Something that went missing. An egg with a crack in it. This looks like the world. Yep, with Africa down there and an eye. Alrighty then. Well, as usual, make sure to pause the video here, take a look at these dice, and come up with your own story and post it below. I'm going to take a look what I can do with the bunch that I have right here. Well, how about if we start with a world? There it is. And it had a scientist. There he is. And the scientist had an assistant named Bob. See? And there he is as well. Now the scientist wanted to experiment on a lot of things. One of the things is he liked to gamble with the results of the experiments that he was expecting. He wasn't always too exact with the amount of measurements of the chemicals that he was using, etc., etc. He liked to introduce the chaos theory. Now, one day he had a certain strand of DNA and he wasn't quite sure what he could do with it. It looked like it had potential, so he fired it at the moon. There you go. From a space rocket, and he introduced a little atmosphere around it because he was part of a secret Black Ops operation that could do that sort of thing. Well, in this case he could in this time and future. In this particular, I guess, what's the thing? Parallel universe? Yeah, there, he could do this. And it started to grow, and eventually eggs were noted on the surface of the moon. It took quite a while, of course. It was like long after this guy died because it took many, many millions of years for things to evolve. But when they did evolve, and these eggs were growing, people saw the small little creatures running around on the surface of the moon. This will have to suffice for the moon right now because we don't have the moon on this particular lineup. And also, they thought that these creatures that were now living on the moon were apparently resistant to a space-like atmosphere, because there was sort of an atmosphere, but it wasn't exactly as thick as ours. It was a little bit thin. They would be very useful to people because they had very little air to breathe, meaning they had some type of thing that they had grown up with or evolved with that would allow them to breathe in space somewhat, or at least breathe a lot less oxygen than the humans were used to using. And they thought that they would bring them back home. There they go. Back to Earth. This is now Earth. So they can take a look at their DNA. And they saw that what the guy had done many years ago was actually brilliant. Although he had only introduced the first strands, it had the potential to go into something or grow into something even better. His assistant Bob was still around, of course, because Bob was just a mechanical thing, and he knew exactly what his master had wanted, and he confirmed that indeed this result was one of the possible results of the calculations that his master had made. At least he made it up on the spot, because he was also programmed to lie for his master, because sometimes things just didn't go his way and then he had to come up with something good for a press release. Anyway, so he said that was exactly what his master had decided, and everybody was very happy with him because he was like the savior of everybody who had to go to space someday. And then we're able to breathe with less oxygen in case of like problems on board of space stations. sometimes the oxygen thing, refreshing, whatever that is, doesn't work quite as well, and there's less air, and then the people who had been genetically engineered to breathe with less air were able to breathe just fine, where everybody else was kind of choking. And the people who were able to breathe with less oxygen were actually able to fix the machines, so they had more specific jobs than other people. And that made them get paid more. Okay, I guess that's it. I'm gonna go and stop with this story right now because it's getting weirder than I thought it would. It makes kind of sense, but it's not quite what I had in mind initially. Either way, so that was the people on space or on the moon and who had special powers. The creatures did. And now the people did too. And that was the end of that story. I'm gonna go put these over here. There. And I hope I'm lining them up like straight, because last time I tended to go a little bit like this or a little bit like that. I tend to go the wrong way. But hopefully this time it'll be okay. Either way, you can see the dice, which is of course the most important thing, instead of them being lined up properly. Let's grab the next 9. To do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. There. Now, of course, while moving, I'll try to have a few videos uploaded already for like Monday and Tuesday. At least Monday, because I should have my internet as soon as I move. And that would mean I would be able to make new videos once I'm there. Either way, this is a trap, this is a spaceman once again, or a guy who's cleaning up stuff that is chemical, an ambulance, and somebody who does not appear to be happy. So I don't exactly lose my schedule while I'm moving, because I'll have a lot of things to do next week. A lot of things, as a matter of fact. Even without the move, I have a lot of things to do. Next 5. This is a TV with a heartbeat, like a heart rate monitor. Here is a bubbling cauldron. Here is the time, 4 o'clock. Guy with a thing on his head, and somebody who is not allowed to enter. Okay, so make sure to pause the video here and take a look at these pictures. Come up with your story, post it below. You know the drill. I'm gonna see what I can do with this bunch. Let's see now. There was once a man with a bandana on his head, or actually it was a bandito, but I think I'll just do it like this. There, he's frowning and he had a bandana on his head, and he was walking around and he found a sign in the forest somewhere that said no humans allowed, and he's like, okay, well, I don't really care because I know that there's like stuff back there that I need, so I'm gonna go ahead and go there anyway. And then he ended up stepping in a trap, which he didn't like very much. As you can see, it kinda didn't agree with him, and so he called an ambulance and they went to pick him up. But the people who came to pick him up were wearing these very special outfits, because apparently what he didn't know is that at 4 o'clock the evening before, a bomb had gone off in that area. It was a dirty bomb, and there were like news reports everywhere saying that you should not go into this area, and that there would be trouble and consequences if you did. And of course this guy with his bandana, who didn't have a TV, didn't see the message, so he just went in there. He was expecting to go in there and rob the bank or something. It was like a downtown area. He wasn't sure why there were signs all over the place telling him not to go there, but now he knew, and he was quite sick. So he was transported to a hospital, because the trap had just been to make sure that people didn't try to walk into the area, because they were somewhat obvious for the naked eye. Not everybody saw that, of course, unlike our friend here. But because of the toxicity in the atmosphere, some of the toxins had settled down on the trap, and they were now in his system, making him feel very sick indeed. And he became patient 0. The stuff that was on the trap, that landed on the trap from the bomb, turned him into a zombie, and he started eating everybody's brains. And then pretty soon everybody had to be quarantined and detained, and there was more news on TV, and there were more signs all over the place telling people where not to go, where the dangerous areas were, and eventually everybody was dead. Just because there were a lot of traps, and there were a lot of zombies out there as well trying to eat people. And then somebody sent me a message, and that was the end of this story, because the zombie apocalypse had broken out and everybody was dead. Like I just said. Sad story, but true. Anyway, so that was the end of story number 2. I'm gonna put these guys over here as well, where you can't see them. Like that. There, now on to the next 9 dice. Oops. Come here. You know you want to. Now, let's take a look how many we have. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Exactly. Very good. Zeus is back, but I'm not sure if we're gonna get him. Let's go and roll them and see if we do. There's also a fish. I think we had the fish last time. We wanted to become human. A few times back, I think. Okay, we have a crab. Always nice. There he is. Zeus is here after all. And a bridge. Okie dokie. And there's another fish. There he is. Our aquatic friend returns yet again. And then we have a keypad. And somebody thinking. There's somebody who looks suspicious. This is a trident. And this looks like something breaking. A bit more like this, I guess, would be better for you. Alright, so pause the video once again. Take a look at these dice. Come up with your own story and post it below. Let's read those stories, people. Let's see what I can make out of this. Now, Zeus had a very special area that he really liked to protect. And it was on the other side of a river. So what he did, in order to protect this other side, like this land of milk and honey that was his own, he wanted to make sure that it would not be fouled by people. So he went and put a fish in charge. He would put the fish in charge, and the fish would like jump over the bridge to try and knock people off if they tried to walk across it. But that didn't work very well because the fish was a little bit late usually, and he couldn't quite see what was going on above the bridge. As you can see, there's like these edges here that normally people would use to hold on to, or to make sure they don't just wander off into the water if they're not being careful. So the fish occasionally would let a few person through, and Zeus didn't like that very much. Matter of fact, he broke the fish and divided it among the people, and they turned into bread. And then he decided, you know what, the fish couldn't exactly help because he couldn't see people walking across the bridge sometimes. He could only see like from a certain level, and it needed to be in the water whenever it was not guarding the bridge, so that was not handy. So what I think I'll do, after he had some careful deliberation, was he put a crab on the bridge instead. Because the crab was able to sit on top of the bridge, and he was able to see people, because he didn't need to be in the water very much. He occasionally would go down to eat some fish, of course, some of these, so that he would have some nutrients. But he would usually be able to keep a good eye on the bridge, and he would be able to scare people off with his sharp pincers and their very strong grip. And so that worked mostly. But one day he was out once again fishing for his own food, and a guy was like, "Hey, there's no crab right now. I'll just run across." And so he did, and then there was another intruder in the land of milk and honey, and Zeus was not happy. So Zeus decided to hide Poseidon, because once again, of course, it's a bridge over water. Poseidon has a lot to do with water. He's like an ocean god, and Poseidon was like, "Okay, sure, I'll have this gig for a summer job. Why the hell not? I need to pay that new ocean loan. I just bought the Pacific, so I'll need to have some extra income in order to be able to pay that off in the next 30 years. So Poseidon did that for a while, but then Zeus decided, you know what, actually Poseidon is costing a lot of money, so instead he just installed a keypad, and people had to enter a code in order to get through a door, in order to get across the bridge, and nobody knew the code but Zeus. So eventually that worked a lot better than the fish, the crab, and Poseidon put together. And so the land of milk and honey land even was safe, except for, of course, people trying to cross a little bit further down the river where there was no bridge, but they would use a canoe. So eventually it had to try and figure something else in order to protect it. Anyway, the bridge was safe, and that was the initial goal, and he made it, so he was happy with that. Okay, so that was the end of the third story, Zeus and his land of milk and honey with the keypad, which actually worked to protect the bridge with nothing else. And I'm going to put these guys away as well. I'm going to thank you for watching. I'm hoping to read a lot of stories that you have come up with yourselves. I'm hoping that everything will turn out okay with the mortgage and the getting the key and the moving thing for me at the end of the week. Help me hope that. And I'll see you next week if all goes well. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.